What is going on, guys? This is Simon here. Whether you are planning to go to China for traveling, school, or business, if you have never been to China and know nothing about it, you might get overwhelmed during your first trip. Therefore, as a local Chinese resident, today I would like to give you 10 tips that you probably need to know before visiting China. Number 1. Get yourself a reliable VPN before coming to China. You guys probably have heard it a million times that most of the international internet services are blocked in China, such as Google, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, or even WhatsApp. Now remember, the most important part is that you need to get a VPN before you come into China. Some people may say that they will get a VPN after they are in China, however, it won't work. Currently, most of the VPN websites are blocked in China. After you are physically in China without a VPN at first place, you can't even access those websites. At that point, you will have to borrow someone else's VPN and use it to access those websites and buy yourself a VPN. So if you want to avoid all those troubles, definitely get a proper VPN beforehand. Number 2. The bathrooms in China probably are different from what you are used to. Especially in the second and third tier cities, some bathrooms don't have sitting toilet. They only have squat toilet, which is just a hole on the ground. If you had never used it before, I recommend you to take some time to do some practice before your trip. Oh, by the way, always have some toilet paper with you while you are in China. Although most of the fancy shopping malls in big cities do provide people with free toilet paper, a lot of bathroom attraction sites don't do that. So just grab some toilet paper from your hotel room and carry them with you. Number 3. Driving is not recommended. If you had only driven in the West, where most people normally don't cut the line and generally follow the traffic rules, you may find driving here to be fairly difficult. Besides that, the traffic in a lot of big cities are notoriously bad, such as Beijing, Shanghai. You can literally be stuck on the road for hours. On the contrary, public transportation in major cities is well developed. I highly recommend you to use high-speed railway system to travel from cities to cities and use subways to do in-city travel. If there is no subway for the place you plan to go, just take the taxi. Comparing to the West, the taxi is still considerably cheaper in China. Number 4. Most Chinese people don't speak English. Maybe you have learned some Chinese and you think that you should be fine. However, China has thousands of dialects. If you travel to some rural area of China, the Mandarin that the local people speak probably is way different from what you used to hear. My grandparents are from a small town near Shanghai. I always have a hard time to understand them, so it's better to have a translation app with you, such as Google Translator or either Microsoft Translator. It will help you to understand the sign and the menu and communicate with the locals. I use them as well when I travel to Japan. Number 5. It is time for you to practice your chopsticks skills. Most of the Chinese restaurants only provide their customer with chopsticks, and most restaurants don't even have forks in their storage room. So either you always bring a fork with you, or you can start learning how to use chopsticks. I definitely recommend the latter one. Why not take the chance to learn something new? Oh, one more thing. If you ever plan to order fish in a Chinese restaurant, you gotta learn how to pick the bones out. Number 6. Unlike West, there is no sense of personal space in China. China has the largest population in the world. Wherever you go, expect to see a lot of people there. During your stay in China, it is very likely that people will bump into you or step on your toe for a few times, and they may behave as nothing happened and walk away without apologizing. I know it is intolerable, but I guess for them, they just think it is not a big deal. It happens all the time. If you really want to avoid these things as much as possible, I would recommend you to check the calendar first. Come to China before or after the major Chinese holiday. That way, you can avoid the massive Chinese tourists during your stay in China. But I think that having lived in that kind of chaos is also a very unique experience, right? Number 7. You will see bad tourists in China. You might have seen news here and there about bad Chinese tourists on social media. And yes, they do exist. If you stay long enough in China, you will see some of them. Cutting the line, throwing garbage everywhere, spitting on the ground, climbing on the tree to take a better selfie, etc. Although these things happen less frequently now, and the younger generation is definitely more civilized. I admit some of us still lack empathy and don't know the importance of following the rules. I apologize for their rude behavior in advance. Please don't let them disturb your mood. Number 8. People will stare at you all the time. I know in some countries they can be rude to stare at people, while in China, as far as I know, I don't think there is such a rule. Also, please remember, although China has different races, majority of the people here are from the same race. It is called Han. Some people living in the rural area probably have only seen foreigners in movie and TV shows. Generally speaking, the less developed the place you went to, the more attention you may get. Please don't be offended. They're just curious about you. If you get a chance to communicate with them, you will realize they are actually very friendly. Number 9. If you go shopping at some local markets, you should always try to bargain with the vendors. The price they originally offered can be way higher than the price for the local customers. I highly recommend you to grab some local Chinese friends or your tour guides with you. I see some people on YouTube recommend to cut the asking price for half as a rule of thumb. I don't think it works very well because sometimes a $200 fake Rolex can be cut down to only $30. Without knowing the real market price, it is really hard to get the best price as the locals get. Number 10. You can't stay at any Chinese hotel. Not all hotels in China can get approval for accommodating foreigners. However, if you book your hotel through an international online travel agency, it shouldn't be an issue. All hotel listed as available will be fine. If you try to walk into a random hotel without a reservation, you may have problems. Many cheap local hotels in small cities can't take foreigners, but I don't recommend those hotels anyways. Some of these hotels are freaking filthy, like this one. I highly recommend you to book your hotel in advance. There you go. Here are the 10 facts you need to know before you come to China. I hope some of my tips haven't scared you away. China is a great place to visit. There are so many things worth checking out, and the people here are super friendly to travelers. Enjoy your stay. Okay, that's it for today's video. I hope you like it. If you want to know more about China and how average people live in China, please subscribe to my channel. I'll keep posting China-related videos weekly. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I will see you next time. Peace.